Hey, dear listeners, Darcey and Stacey. Let's see what happens.
Really, really early in the morning, and that's unacceptable. I wasn't going to answer. I wasn't going to put myself in that position. And he texted me soon after that. I didn't respond, but he said, "Hey, Darcey, come on. Let's talk, please. Why are you ignoring me? I don't want to leave things like this after all we have been through together. I still care about you, and I still love you."
So some of this is normal behavior or within the realm of the beginning of a breakup, but the constant overstepping of a boundary and not respecting Darcey's, what she said, like, stop doing this to me, and then getting angry about it and pressuring and constant calling in the middle of the night, that's not okay. To make someone, like, even if this is all that Georgie did, it wouldn't be unusual for someone in Darcey's position to start to be afraid, for it to be terror-inducing for someone in Darcey's shoes, even though there's been no overt threats of violence or control. When you see someone exhibiting this kind of behavior and they seem to have no limit, or at least they're not exerting any kind of limit or rationality to their behavior, then it can be terrifying and thus abusive. Sometimes people in Georgie's position will know that, and they will use that to their advantage. Most of the time they don't know that that's what's happening, and they just think that they're just, a lot of people in Georgie's, and I guess you can think about this as another jumping off point. If you're ever in a situation where you're being broken up with and you're struggling with it, one coping style is to go into denial and to believe that you were made for each other and that there's definitely a road to getting the person back. And so you just can't accept what's happening. And so you're just like, well, eventually they'll come back to me. And so I just have to break through whatever the barrier is. Like, what's the magic key so that we'll be able to be back together again? Because I know that the real Darcey wants to be with me. And that distortion and that denial won't help anybody, particularly if you're doing this kind of thing to Darcey. So yeah, this is all. So I don't know. We could use this as rewriting some history with Georgie, particularly for me, since I tend to question the accusations of Georgie. But when we see this behavior, it's certainly a version of being unhinged, right? So maybe there was some behaviors while they were together that were somewhat along these lines. I don't know.
I get Darcey diamond earrings because every time I want to go to the store, I see the earrings. So I was like, this is so beautiful. They shine beautifully like her. And the fact that I was coming to Miami was like, this is the best kind of opportunity to give her something from my heart.
Yeah, so if that's true and not faked for a reality TV show, then okay, yeah, it's an impulse, it's normal, but you, one, want to think about whether or not it's wise to do it under those circumstances, what effect it's going to have on other people, and certainly when Darcey starts to push back, then you have to adjust your plan and you have to reorient your expectations. Maybe have a therapist to talk to. If he was talking with me about this, I would ask him, so do you have any evidence that she wants you to do this? Because if not, then one, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. And two, like, you are potentially being overpowering and bulldozing with another human being. Like, you shouldn't be doing things to put people in positions where they have to defend themselves against you. So how about you slow down? And also, even if I was on Georgie's side and was trying to help him, I'd say, well, how about you try a slower path? It looks like you're going to be allowed to go to the wedding. So how about you just chill, go, take it easy, try to create a friendship or at least a cordial, open, and then maybe something will happen down the road. But he literally sat down and said, here's some, I love you, get back, and was real forceful and annoying.
Maybe just wanted to do something nice, to give her some diamond earrings.
And I've said this before, but to be specific about this, people who are abusive, whether they know it or not, will do things like this. It's in the camp of love bombing, I suppose, but they will feel entitled. They don't listen to you. They don't care that you've asserted a boundary. they will try to weasel their way back into your life in whatever way possible, whether they know they're manipulative or not. They're not paying attention to any kind of communication from the victim. They're just like, they have a mindset of entitlement. They have a mindset of, well, it doesn't really matter what she thinks. It doesn't matter what he thinks or they think. It just matters what I want. And that's all that's happening for me. I have tremendous need. I have tremendous hurt and pain. And the only way to alleviate that pain is to get back with that person. It just eclipses all other noticing of things. An analogy is, say you're in a burning building and you have seconds to get out of the room, and you see a window, and it's all you see is the window and the light, and the smoke is coming in, and the heat and the fire, and things are falling down around you, and you just have maybe half of a second to get out that window. Let's say that there's someone crawling on the ground, but you're so distracted by the smoke and the fire and the getting out and I'm about to die that you might inadvertently clamber over the person to crawl out the window. That, under those circumstances, I wouldn't, at the very least, criticize that person for doing that. Now, if they have half a second to think, you would hope that they wouldn't do that, but maybe they don't. And the amount of, imagine having the amount of terror, you're just like, you're a 10 out of 10 on the terror scale, and you have tunnel vision, and you'll do anything to get to safety. So for some people, it's literally that experience when they are experiencing abandonment and loneliness, and they're tunnel visioned on getting relief. They're trying to get to that window, and they don't care who they step on, even if it's the very person that they're trying to get back together with. It doesn't make it okay, but it does explain why some people do this. Not everyone that is abusive this way will be in this, shall we say, sympathetic state, meaning that we might feel bad for them. And it certainly doesn't mean that you have to give into it. It just means that it helps to understand why someone is doing that sort of thing. So I don't know where Georgie is coming from, but it sounds like he's regretting. But I don't know. I don't know if he's going to stop, because given what we saw and given the way that the only thing that I would be confident in him in terms of his next day reaction would be like, oh my God, I was drunk. I can't believe I did that. That was so stupid. I'm never going to, I'm never going to contact her again because I don't want to bother her. But if it ever comes up, can you just tell her that I'm sorry and I'm a complete idiot? I don't know. If he said something like that, then maybe I'd be like, okay, well, seems like he learned his lesson. He's heading in the right direction. He recognizes what he did was wrong. Because really the only answer is if Georgie if he even tries to contact her again, like that is evidence that he has not learned and that this is a pattern.
It was not easy for me, to see her again. I miss her, and to know now she's moved on, dating other people. Before I come, I was having some hope. I can see her, we can be friends, we can go slowly. But I guess in this situation, I push her more.
Yeah, I would question that perspective. You bought her earrings and had it with you. So if you're planning on going slow, I'd be curious as to what his version of going slow actually was.
Now what? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Are we supposed to talk with Darcey about the wedding, if she's okay for me to be the best man?
Jeez. So hopefully Florian is about to say, no, dude, sorry, you blew it. You blew it with Darcey and Stacey and me, frankly. So we can still be friends maybe, but you're done. You're not coming. I don't want you there.
I'm in a very bad situation, to be honest.
Sorry, man, I don't want it to end this trip this way, but I couldn't help myself. I shouldn't listen to you,
Georgie can be my best man. I don't know how to tell to him, to be honest.
Okay, good. I was like, are we seeing shenanigans where Florian feels beholden to the producers to somehow... other shows, I don't think shenanigans are happening as much. Certainly shenanigans are happening, but this show, I don't know, it's like either these individuals are actually this strange in terms of their impulses and their behavior, or something's going on, something fishy is going on. I don't know. I tend not to want to think that way because it kind of ruins it. And certainly all of the shows I watch could have 100% shenanigans, but this is just hard. But anyway, so I was going to call shenanigans if he didn't say this. So he's like, yeah, I want to tell him that there's no possible way he's coming to the wedding, but I don't know what to say. So yeah, hopefully he just says, hey, I'm sorry, but you just can't come. We can be friends, but you can't come. Like, I don't want you there. Not only do they not want you there, and it's kind of a deal breaker for them, but personally, I don't want you there because you should have told me what you're going to do. I thought you were going to be cool, and I stuck my neck out for you. I vouched for you, and you kind of betrayed me. And you say that you lost control, but you had those earrings in your pocket. Like, that's not someone that was going there to be a friend or to even just take it slowly.
I need to break the news, to tell to him, this has happened, man. I need to put Darcey first. I need to make this better with my sister-in-law. I like you to come to my wedding, but like, I need to look for new best man, basically.
And on the shenanigans topic, this actually looks less like shenanigans because I'm guessing the producers would have loved for Georgie to be at the wedding because there's a lot at stake. You're kind of stuck there. You're looking for some drama to happen at the wedding. And as it is, there might be no drama at the wedding if Georgie isn't there. Now, I'm guessing you've watched ahead, so you know the deal. Maybe he does weasel his way back on the show. I don't know. And into Darcey's life. I mean, who knows what'll happen. I mean, I could absolutely see Darcey. So what would put this at risk is Darcey and Cicero have some kind, I think that's his name, have some sort of falling out, or there's some indication of it looking like it might not be a good relationship to Darcey. She sees it as she dichotomizes it as like, oh, this is happening again. I'm desperate. I want to be with someone. And she ends up contacting Georgie and they rekindle their relationship, which, on paper isn't a bad thing. It just makes it so that for me as a viewer, I just don't have a lot of faith in anything being any different unless they have tremendous amount of intensive therapy with someone that knows what they're doing. So I guess that, I don't know. But what do I hope? I hope that everyone is able to get the life that they want and that Darcey is able to heal, and that whether that's with Cicero or Georgie or no one, then that's what I hope for. So I guess I'm kind of getting wrapped up in the details.
That's up. It's supposed to be like a twin wedding. We're supposed to, four of us getting married together. This is gonna make me feel even more sad. I mean, I don't know what else we can do.
Georgie, listen to me next time.
Wow, sounding even more pathological. So Georgie is now talking about it. I mean, I don't think he's literally saying it was supposed to be a twin wedding, but that thought entering his mind right now and him saying that it's fucked up, that this is happening, and his lack of self-awareness and acknowledgement for what he did to everybody is interesting.
You gonna ignore us all night? I feel upset, sad, angry. I feel thrown under the bus.
I don't think we expected it to go like this, Darcey, especially Florian.
Yeah, I just don't understand the attitude towards each other. So for Darcey, she started off, I think, okay. I don't know about thrown under the bus. They've all been, I guess you could say, victimized, but they were all tricked. Or at the very least, it's not any of their fault. I mean, you could argue that Florian and, at the very least, Florian, maybe Stacey, should have added this to the possibilities given, but I don't know. I could see them saying, like, we've never seen Georgie do anything like this before. So who knows? But Darcey starts off by saying she's thrown under the bus. She could have left that out. Plus, anyway, but then immediately Stacey's like, we didn't know that. It's just that attitude, kind of rolling her eyes at Darcey. It's like, if you're Stacey, just say, yeah, I get it, but I'll tell you, we didn't know he was going to do that. But yeah, I could totally see how you would feel cornered and upset about it. We were upset too, and yeah, maybe we're partially to blame, particularly him, Florian, and Florian would be like, yeah, Darcey, I'm so sorry that this happened. It's sort of like an analogy. Let's say that you're watching your friend's dog and your dog gets sick, and your friend is freaking out and they come to you and they'll be like, what did you feed him? What did you do to him? Did you take him outside? What happened? And you're like, it's not I did everything I was supposed to do. I mean, maybe it was my fault, but I don't think it was. I think it was just kind of circumstantial. Now, in that instance, you'd be like, I can't believe you're blaming me. I mean, hopefully you just have some sympathy and you're just like, yeah, I totally get that you would be upset at me because the dog did get sick while he was with me. But I'll tell you, I did all the things. There was nothing that indicated. But I get that, you would wonder about that. I would wonder if I were in your shoes too. But I'll tell you everything I did if you want to know. But I didn't do anything. So you're just recognizing the position that someone else is in, the state that they're in. And so for Darcey, it makes sense that she would be in a state, and then they should just accommodate that. There's a limit to the amount of blame that you would accept and the amount of conversation you'd have. But I'm guessing that Darcey might be soothed if they were to just take a more understanding approach.
I'm setting boundaries, and I just don't want to get back into a broken relationship.
I'm sorry what happened. I apologize what happened. I talked to him before left, and to him, he still can be my best man. You move on, and Georgie move on. Everything is good.
And then he resorts to that talk again of, I wonder if he grew up in a conflictual family and he was the peacemaker or something, because he seems really kind of focused on everyone being happy. But he did say, I'm sorry, and I told him he can't come. So that's good.
I don't know if I'm really feeling that with what you're saying to me right now. Like, I need proof on his end.
I know can sign contract with him.
Call him.
She needs proof of what? Proof that Georgie isn't coming? Yeah, I mean, I could see. I mean, I don't know if it's rational to suspect in this moment, but given everything that's happened, I could see how she would be a little uncertain. Like, what if I get blindsided? What if he just shows up? What if he just crashes the party? Like, I need some reassurance that that's not going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, given the way that Georgie acted, regardless of what anyone does, I could see Georgie just showing up.
So there's no more bad blood in the air. Call him out. Call him out.
I don't understand. What does she want? Call him out? Is she wanting Florian to attack Georgie? Is that what she's wanting?
You move on, and Georgie move on. Everything is good.
I need proof on his end. Call him. Call him out. Call him out.
What you want to say?
I need you to tell him you're not gonna say one word about my life, my relationships, where I'm headed in life, and it won't bother Darcey.
Yeah, that's fine. I think there's another approach. Darcey could say, hey, Florian, it really helped me out. I'd feel a lot safer if you could commit to me and maybe some evidence that you've told him that you're going to draw a boundary about me. I don't want you telling him things about me. And at first, I thought, well, there's nothing wrong with Florian telling Georgie, because particularly the way the conversation is played out, I don't know if I reacted to it. I don't think I did. But there's nothing wrong with, if they're going to be friends, that Georgie's be like, so what's Darcey up to? There's some wisdom as to whether or not you want to engage in that if you are Florian and or Georgie. But the way that things played out, it was very tricksy in that he weaseled his way back in and then blasted her and then chased her and mildly stalked her in a sense. So it makes sense that Darcey would say, Florian, you cannot tell him anything about me. If he asks you questions, you just can't. Now, I think Darcey is assuming that Florian was feeding a lot of information to Georgie, but I'm pretty sure all Florian said was, yeah, she's dating someone that has a nice car or something. I don't know. But so it's normal for Darcey to be a little worried about that. And it's totally fine. Given what we saw from Georgie, it's totally fine for Darcey to be a little forceful about, I need you to not say anything to him about me, and I also need some proof that you're not going to do that. Now, she could be a little different and just be like, hey, I know you guys are friends, but I'm going to ask kindly that if he asks anything about me, anything at all, you just draw a boundary about that, because that guy, he's got some issues and he's very invasive. And so if you give him anything, he'll roll with it. And I don't know what he's capable of. The guy chased me out to my car and called me 3 times last night. So we can't take a risk here. You just have to draw a boundary with him. And some of you may have been in those shoes before.
Make it happen.
It feels very awkward. Darcey told me to call Georgie in front to put in speakerphone. I never do in my life. Only first time in my life I'm doing for Darcey.
Yeah, well, so I predict that Darcey and Stacey, since it's on speakerphone, are going to get involved, and it's just going to cause more chaos. So I would recommend that Florian just say, okay, look, I'll talk to him, because I feel like if you hear, I don't know, it just feels like chaotic, plus we're at an art show, so let's not create a scene. I'll talk with him, and you're just going to have to trust that I'm going to tell him. Believe me, you know. And if you're Florian, just be like, you're right. The guy completely flipped out, and I'm upset at him. I'm upset at him. So, you know, trust me. I'll tell him to back off. And yes, I'm never going to say anything about you. There's no reason for me to tell him anything about you. So he could just say something like that.
So you talk with her already?
Yes, it's move on. It's like move, like big move on.
Why she's there? She's talking all these things to you?
No, for what I'm calling you, like to not call her no more, to not bother her no more, to like.
Tell him I don't want him to know anything about my life.
Darcey, you're on speakerphone. But Florian was doing great. He was doing great. You didn't have to create chaos. But anyway, maybe this will continue to go great.
Talk no more about for Darcey, to be honest with you. Her, never need to call her, never text, nothing no more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guess I get the answer that I was looking for.
Okay, I have hope that Georgie receives this and says, okay, I have to accept that it's over. I'll stop bothering her. Hopefully.
Thank you, Florian.
All right, see you.
Not excusing what Georgie did, but now that I think about it, Georgie did have reasons to believe that Darcey would change her mind, because she had in the past, right? They had broken up in the past, and he did win her back, maybe in similar methods. That doesn't justify him doing what he did, and it wasn't a high crime what he did, but it was definitely in the direction of bulldozing and entitlement and abusive and stalking. So it's not okay. It's not highly unusual for anyone to do stuff like that upon being broken up with, but to give him a little bit of reasons to believe that if he really poured it on thick, it would work, is because that's what would work in the past, particularly about gifts and showing that he's dedicated. So there was a little reason to believe that what he was doing was potentially going to work, but now he knows it's not going to work. So hopefully it's just over.
All right, so we do there.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Let's
you.
move on.
He needed to hear it.
So good on Florian, good on Stacey for not getting involved. She could have easily triangulated herself and said, Darcey, don't ask Florian to do that, or whatever. And Darcey took it and appreciated it, and that was all good. I don't usually see that, where I'm just like, oh God. I mean, I thought for sure there was going to be a big scene and all the patrons at this art gallery were going to turn and so that was good. And even for Georgie, he could have flipped out and refused to accept that, or you're a jerk face, Florian, I thought you were a friend. And he just was sad and said, okay, I guess I have my answer. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone, please take care of yourself, because you deserve it. You really, really do.